Adobe Illustrator has several methods of tinting an object. The traditional tint, which knocks out an object, and the second one being opacity, which deals with the transparency of an object. We're using Illustrator CS5. Let's begin by creating a new document in Adobe Illustrator. I'll go ahead and activate the program and get a new file. 3.5 by 2 is fine for this demonstration. Notice my color mode is CMYK because I'm working for offset printing, and the raster effects is 300 ppi, which is also dots per inch. This has to do with the resolution of things like drop shadows and different blends over objects. 300 dots per inch is what's pretty much required for the offset printing industry. I'll go ahead and choose OK. And I'll go under Window, and let's go down to the swatch libraries, and I'll go ahead and get a Pantone color out of the color books. I'll just work with a solid coated color, and let's just load one into the color swatches. I've got the color window open, the transparency window open, and the appearance window open. I'm going to go ahead and open the swatches window and just tuck that down there so that we can work with these 4 palettes. Let's begin by drawing 2 objects. I'll go ahead and make a couple of squares here. I'll cut and paste so that they are the same size, and I'll just go ahead and kind of line them up. And then I'll reverse the colors from the stroke to the fill, and I'll go ahead and remove the stroke. In traditional printing, when you tint something, it generally does not overprint an object. So if you go up to your color menu and you see Pantone Purple C and make it a 50% tint, the object gets lighter. If you go to the transparency menu and choose its opacity of 50%, it is also 50% lighter. But when you place this object on top of another object, or if you go to place this object in another program like InDesign, you will find that tint versus opacity is totally different. I'm going to go ahead and draw another box here in the background, and I'll go ahead and give it a gradient so that we can see what's going on, and I'll tilt the gradient a little bit, and I'll send it to the back. Notice in the first example, this is a tint. This totally knocks out the background. A lot of designers have been using the transparency, which is readily available in the newer versions of CS. I believe CS3 and later has the most options available, and you can see when you move this object around, it's going to absorb the tint from the background and change. Let me go ahead and change the background up a little bit more so we can see a little bit better of an example. I'll go ahead and just modify my gradients a little bit here so you can see, just dragging some things across here. Now notice, this object is still knocking out, but because we've gone ahead and used transparency and we've reduced it to 50%, it is going to multiply essentially through the object. So this is something to take into consideration when you're placing things like logos or other artwork from Illustrator into InDesign where there might be another background present. You need to be sure that you're using the tint for an object and not the transparency.